The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.thebenjamindixonshow.com to register for our blog and join the Progressive Army.
They were saddened to say that 17 people lost their lives. 12 people within the building, 2 people just outside the building, 1 person out on Pine Island Road, and 2 people lost their lives in the hospital. There are people that are still undergoing surgery, and just pray for this city, pray for this school, the parents, the folks that lost their lives. It's a horrific, horrific day.
That's the voice of Sheriff Scott Israel of Broward County, Florida. I know him by name. I know him. School shootings happen so much in this country that I guess they're bound to happen in your backyard or where you grew up. I went to high school not far from Stoneman Douglas. I lived even closer to Stoneman Douglas. I volunteered for Scott Israel's campaign many years ago. He first ran for sheriff. He lost. I was a volunteer photographer for him, and I haven't seen him since then. And now I have to see him on television talking about the deaths of 17 people. And here we are again. Here we are again. We never seem to be able to get away from this particular tragedy that happens so often that it's almost inevitable that it's going to happen in a neighborhood close to you. And I hate to say that, because I'm the type that I don't wish ill on anyone. I don't even want to speak negativity in the atmosphere, but the frequency, we've had 18 shootings, 18 school shootings, not mass shootings, 18 school shootings just in 2018. And today is February 15th. Can you imagine that for a moment? That is where we are. And it's such a tragedy. I mean, Seattle, Washington, there was a school shooting. Los Angeles, California, a school shooting. San Bernardino, California, a school shooting. Sierra Vista, Arizona, a school shooting. Maplewood, Minnesota, Dearborn, Michigan, St. John's, Michigan, Benton, Kentucky, Denison, Texas, Italy, Texas, Marshall, Texas, Gentilly, Louisiana, Mobile, Alabama, Winston-Salem, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Oxon Hill, Maryland, Bronx, New York, and yesterday, Parkland, Florida. Stoneman Douglas High School. I went to academic competitions at Stoneman Douglas. Our high school competed against theirs. I think if I remember correctly, I either substituted there once or applied to be a teacher there early on after I finished college. It's, driving distance from my house. I know the area well, the house that I lived in at the time. A friend of mine on Facebook wrote something that really struck me. It really struck me. He's a security guard at Ely High School in Pompano Beach, Florida, which is the high school I went to. It's about 20 minutes from Stoneman Douglas. And he's a security guard there now. And he talked about all of the things that they go through as security guards. Yesterday, one of the security guards was killed as well. He's a football coach. He jumped in front of bullets, took bullets for students, and he died. And so my friend, who's a security guard 20 minutes away, he spoke about how that's, they are training to do that. And they're willing to do that. But can we pause for a second and talk about, the necessity for school security guards to have that mentality, and to be grateful that they do have that mentality because of how frequently this happens in our country.
Nicholas, I think we spell his name Nikolas Cruz, was the killer. He is in custody, and we've already began to dissect his websites and the things that social media that he was on, and some of the things that come to mind are very, very disturbing. He was born in 1998 in September. He was a former student of Douglas High School. He got expelled for disciplinary reasons. I don't know the specifics. I think he might have surfaced at Taravella High School. We're still trying to confirm that. And this morning when he woke up, whether he was a student or not, I don't know. He had countless magazines, multiple magazines, and at this point, we believe he had one AR-15 rifle. I don't know if he had a second weapon.
So Nicholas Cruz, born 1998, September 1998, same age as my nephew, man, same age, same month. Wow. And he was, well, you heard Sheriff Israel go over it. I don't have to regurgitate what the sheriff said, except for one point, which is the AR-15. The AR-15 is the weapon of choice in all of these school shootings. And at some point, we'll get the picture that it is not only people who kill people, but it's specific guns that gives them the ability to kill more people. Aurora, Colorado, AR-15 was used. Orlando, Pulse nightclub, an AR-15 was used. Las Vegas, and it was an augmented AR-15, but it was an AR-15 nonetheless. Sandy Hook, an AR-15. The Texas church shooting this year, or in the last 12 months, an AR-15. San Bernardino, an AR-15. Parkland, Florida, an AR-15. But what's the point? What's the point of pointing that out? Because we'll never be able to get that weapon out of there unless we pry it out of their cold, dead hands. And apparently the cost of that stubbornness in America is the lives of our children. So many. I don't expect any empathy, any compassion above enough concern and emotional distress to actually change anything. We've already settled that case with the Sandy Hook Elementary. We already settled that case that nothing trumps. No, there's nothing that can happen that would change the course and the power of the NRA in this country. But just think about this. After yesterday, 3 of the 10 deadliest mass shootings in modern American history, 3 of 10 happened in the last 5 months. Texas, Las Vegas, and now Parkland, Florida.
I was wrapping up in math class. As you know, it was the end of the day, and we were pretty much just packing up.
The last 20 minutes of class, there was a fire drill, but it was really weird right away because we had just had one this morning.
We heard a few pops, and at the time we didn't really think much of it, as it could have been, you know, a kid throwing something.
And everyone's kind of stood there not knowing exactly what to do. And we just kind of looked around until we heard 3 or 4 just loud bangs.
One of my friends who was previously in the bathroom came in running frantically, screaming that there's a shooter. He heard gunshots.
Everyone who was going down the stairs just ran back up.
We heard a bunch of other shots. And that's when the lights were turned off, door was locked, and we went into hiding.
I want to say over 100 students just trying to run into a classroom and shut the door, just like running to the corners, like jumping over desks, trying to get behind the teacher's desk.
Those are 2 students from Marjory, Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, giving their accounts of what happened and the chaos that ensued and the confusion and the uncertainty. And thankfully, from both of their accounts, everyone who was with them made it out. But sadly, a total of 17 people, 12 at the school, and the rest either at the hospital or on the street, did not survive. And here we are. There's an interesting turn of events in this story already. There's a YouTuber who received a comment from a guy by the name of Nicholas Cruz, saying that he was going to become a professional school shooter. And listen to his account.
Back in September 2017, matter of fact, September 24th, 2017, I sent a screenshot of a comment on one of my videos. When I saw the comment come through on my studio app on my iPhone, this comment said, "I'm going to be a professional school shooter," and I knew that I couldn't just ignore that. So I screenshotted the comment, I sent it to the appropriate authorities. Now the screen name, it wasn't a generic screen name. The screen name was Nicholas Cruz, which I'm sure, as you know by now, is the name of the guy that did the shooting in Florida today.
That was Ben Benight. He is a bail bondsman and has a video channel on YouTube, and he's given the account of how he reported this. Jake Tapper on CNN just reported that the FBI has confirmed that they received his comment. They received his report. They investigated, and they were unable to track the comment back to anyone in specific. But the name on the account was Nicholas Cruz, and it was spelled the same exact way that the shooter spells his name. So there's a strong possibility that this was the same person. And press conferences have gone out. Paul Ryan has given his press conference. Donald Trump has given his press conference. Everyone has given their press conference, and everyone is still saying the same thing. Our thoughts, our hearts, our prayers, our minds are with the people of Parkland. I literally at the point where we could take their last, their last set of condolences, which was a month ago, and just put it on repeat. There's no need for the human body to show up because they say the same thing, and it happens so frequently that we might as well just commodify these greetings and just put them out and play them on repeat, because we're going to need them again really soon. That's how it works. And one of the students, here's a clip of another student who survived. They said it best.
What we really need is action, because we can say, yes, we're going to do all these things, thoughts and prayers. What we need more than that is action. Please, this is the 18th one this year. That's unacceptable. We're children. You guys are the adults. You need to take some action and play a role. Work together, come over your politics, and get something done.
That student's name was David Hogg, and he hit it on the head. But another student hit it on the head after Tommy Lauren, who I don't want to mention in this context, except for the response that a student gave to one of her tweets. This is what Tommy had to say. She said, as usual, it's the same thing that the conservatives always say in this type of situation. Tommy said, quote, "Can the left let the families grieve for even 24 hours before they push their anti-gun and anti-gun owner agenda? My goodness, this isn't about a gun. It's about another lunatic #Florida shooting." Well, Carly Nove, at least her Twitter handle is @car_Nove. She said, "I was hiding in the closet for 2 hours. It was about guns. You weren't there. You don't know how it felt. Guns give these disgusting people the ability to kill other human beings. This is about guns, and this is about all the people who had their life abruptly ended because of guns." Here, Carly. If there's anything good that's coming out of this, it is these students who are so boldly speaking up and saying from their pain, from their experience. And sadly, they're having to do this from the depth of their experience with this horrific situation that they never should have had to go through. But they're speaking up, and they're speaking up boldly for the cause of making sure that this never happens again. I hope that the future bodes well for us with young people like that who can see the ridiculousness of our political system that's incapable and unwilling. They're totally capable, but they're completely unwilling to do something about this. And I feel that even our commentary is making us complicit with the problem. I feel that there are no words that we can say that's going to change this. And I am extremely tired that we have to say the same thing over and over and over again. And the fact that I have to lament having to say the same thing over and over again, I am starting to lament that over and over and over again. So how do we get out of this vicious cycle? How do we break it? Because we are in a vicious, never-ending cycle where the same game is played, and I offer commentary along the same lines because it's happening so frequently. The frequency with which it is happening is increasing. I mean, and the deadliness of it is increasing. And so while all of us, including me, we're doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. Everyone has their role. Paul Ryan is going to say, we're going to give our hearts and thoughts and prayers, and now's not the time. The president, depending on if it's a Republican or a Democrat, they're going to say their piece, and then they're going to go on about their business. The communities, they're going to grieve, and those are the people who will never be the same. And sadly, perhaps this is what I'm getting ready to say is extremely dark, But perhaps the only way for us to change this is for everyone to experience it. Because I guarantee you the communities that have been hurt by this and tragically lost so many people, I guarantee you that they're on the side of changing this no matter by any means necessary. And so is it going to take? It clearly doesn't take Congress people getting shot, because one got shot and almost died and still swears by the NRA. So maybe that's not even the answer. Maybe this is a problem that is uniquely designed to plague the United States of America, as so long as there isn't a United States of America. And that is a terrifying notion.
I met Nick my sophomore year. He was a little bit off. I could tell there was something just different about him, that he was, a little bit insane. Not insane, more like the term more...
troubled?
Troubled, yeah. It was more trouble. A lot of the kids predicted that, they threw jokes around saying that he would be the one to show up to school.
I'm not really sure what to do with that clip, but I thought it was something that we should discuss and that you should hear. Because it borderlines on everyone's suspicion that we do have. We look around us. We have to be aware of our surroundings. We have to be aware of the people that we work with. We have to be aware of the people we go to school with. And at the same time, it's like there is a bit of profiling, ableist profiling in there and it's not even, the reason I want to play the video is because I saw the reaction to that video from some conservative who was like, your feelings are not worth my child's life. And I'm like, underneath that, it's not even about people's feelings. It's about whether or not you actually have systems in place that can equitably and fairly and within the realm of civil rights and human rights address your suspicion. Or are you going to create a system where I suspect that this person is going to be a mass shooter, therefore the cops have to do something about it? Where is that threshold? Does that threshold even exist? People reported this kid. The kid reported himself. The YouTube channel reported it. I'm not really sure what more could have been done at this point. I'm sure more is going to come out. We're going to find out maybe there was some report that went and nobody did anything about it. Someone reported it to a guidance counselor. Nobody did anything about it. Maybe that will come out, and that shows a weakness in our system, a lapse in our system that is problematic. But on the surface of it, what do we do with our suspicions? What do we do with our suspicions? Like, if a person doesn't take any actions that could be investigated, they could be arrested for, or they could be Baker acted for, if they don't take any actions before their first shooting, what are you supposed to do about your suspicions? I honestly don't have the answer to that question. I'm posing that question to you all. The only thing I know to do is for you to protect yourself and to be aware of who's around you and who you're going to school with, and always be mindful of that person. I know there's been times where I've been in situations where I had to watch the door. Somebody stormed out furious and irately over an issue, and I watched the door for the rest of the day to make sure if that person came back, I went out the opposite door. Right? Those are the things that we can do, but systemically, what can be done when all you have is a suspicion and the person has not done anything illegal or dangerous yet. And to be sure, this has no bearing on my opinion of what we should do with the gun laws and gun control and the need to restrict access to those type of weapons, right? This is purely about your suspicion and your... Not even, see, suspicion is carries such a negative connotation. It's about your intuition. What do you do with your intuition? Is there anything that you can do with your intuition? If you know that this is the type of person that's going to do something and you're confident about it, there's really nothing that you can do about it except for just keep your eyes open and be aware of your surroundings and watch when they come and go, because otherwise we move into almost the other side of the Gestapo, were the people who are willing to report. You know, and in a strange way, it reminds me of that if we created a system that operated purely on the basis of someone's suspicions. But likewise, we can't belittle them and dismiss them and think nothing of it or make so light of it or be so desensitized to what's happening around us that we ignore it. And I honestly think that's where we are. We are at a point in society where we see these shootings happening so much that we take it with a grain of salt, that our suspicion and our spidey senses are going off about something, about a situation, about someone, and we dismiss it not because we don't trust ourselves, but because we're so desensitized to what's happening around us that, you know, we start to think of it as just another school shooting. That's all I want to do for today, because I don't want to repeat myself any more than I've already had to repeat myself. And sadly, because of the way things work in this country, we're going to have another episode just like this. My only hope is that it's far enough away and that no one is hurt. But the way we are desensitized, I know that if no one is shot, no one is killed, no one is hurt, then we won't even cover it in the news. So my hope is that I never have to do another episode like this again. And I hope that if we do, that it's not in your neighborhood. I pray that it's not in your neighborhood and it's not in my neighborhood. And I just hope that we can actually do something about it. But I'm not going to hold my breath. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hold my children tonight. Hold someone you love. Hug them as tightly as you can. Love somebody. Be kind to somebody. Smile at someone. Only if you feel like it. And I'll see you tomorrow.
The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.thebenjamindixonshow.com to register for our blog and join the Progressive Army.